Hello and welcome to EduCurious. This morning we have an amazing guest. This is Emilyn Sharpless, and she is an ag teacher at a local middle school, but also is an incredible leader with FFA and with so many of our young leaders in our community. So, welcome, Emilyn. Thank you for spending time with us today on the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I have a bunch of questions. Your program is wildly popular, and it's probably has a little bit to do with it being in Polk County and being an agriculture county, but you do an absolutely incredible job with ag and with FFA. But I think most of your learning is outside the classroom. So give us a brief overview about how you got started and what you do. Take it away.
Oh, wow. Okay, so my family is an agriculture family. I have an agriculture background on my mom's side of the family, with my uncle being very involved with the citrus industry and others within the cattle industry. And so that's where I've always been aware of it my whole life growing up. And when I got in, and I did 4-H, and when I got into middle school, I joined FFA, and it was where I fit. And so I succeeded in that. I was successful in that, and the leadership that it installed in me. And so then I didn't go to school to be an ag teacher. I went to school to have a history degree with a minor in political science and communication. I wanted to be a curator of a museum. That's what I wanted to be. But my middle school ag teacher saw something different in me. And the day that I graduated, he called me and told me congratulations and that there was an ag teacher opening in Polk County, because he was the director of the ag teachers then at the district. And I was like, well, Mr. Webb, I just got this degree, so I'm going to try to, figure it out. And he called me every summer until I finally told him yes to be an ag teacher. And that was 10 years ago. So I guess it fits. And so here we are now. And I wouldn't change a thing, because it truly is what I was supposed to do in the long run. So kudos to Mr. Webb for seeing that.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how you structure your classroom, your ag classroom.
So my classroom's a little different. It's never quiet in my classroom, because we're always doing something. I have standards that I have to teach. And so I do. My kids hate when we have to have inside days, but I have to teach those standards so then we can put them into real life practice, because that's a lot of what my classroom is like you're hands on real life. So I have to teach you how a plant grows, how a cow's stomach is, how to give shots, all to do this stuff so you can do it in real life practice outside when we're outside. So, but I try to do as much as I can outside or with labs that are hand on. Like if it's something that I don't have, I try to do a lab or like a project or something that's hands on that they can do to implement that of what we learned in class.
So you have the inside normal classroom standards, and then tell me about how you've taken this group of students and you have gone outside the classroom, all the stuff going on out in your greenhouse, all the learning that takes place out there.
Yeah, so every agriculture class, it's a 3-circle model. So you have your classroom instruction, and this is how the standards and the DOE says that it is, and this is how FFA plays a part with our class. Is it's a 3-circle model. There's inside classroom structure, there's SAE/outside time. So SAE is supervised agriculture experiences, and then there's FFA. And the kids don't have to join FFA, thankfully, in the state of Florida. We receive funding from the state. So every student enrolled in an agriculture class can be an FFA member for free. And so that encourages them to maybe want to do a project at the fair or something else, and not just sit in my class and do what we do outside, but take it a little bit further, join a team, compete in a contest and stuff like that. So outside, when I got to Bach, our land lab did not look how it does today. Thankfully, through donors and different things like that, we've been able to build a state-of-the-art greenhouse and a nice raised bed area and animals and different things like that. And the students do it all. I mean, I'm out there and I help work in If we're working in the raised beds, I'll help them, but they do it all. They line the rows up, they plant the plants, they're in charge of harvesting the plants. With the animals, they're in charge. Of course, on the weekends, I feed and water, but during the week, it's totally run by the students. They feed and water, they care for them, they tell me when they need feed. If one of them's sick, they let me know. Of course, I help with that as well. In the greenhouse, when we have the fish, they take care of the fish. They're like, it's very hands on. They run everything out there. I show them, teach them in class how to do it. When it comes to the aqua tank, taking water samples, making sure everything's okay, they all know how to do that. Different classes at different levels, but every student can go out there and care for something. And so that's how I run that. It's very hands on. So if the raised beds look bad, it's because they're not out there they don't want to do it. And so, but they know and they do work hard. And so, in our area does look very nice because it is the students, they take pride in that and they do it all.
So what all do you have in your greenhouse?
So right now we have our aqua tank. And then we have just horticulture plants that our kids have grown and taken care of. And we're selling those right now, like to raise money. And that money is what we do when we buy new seeds, animal feed, anything like that. That money is what pays to run that out there.
Tell me about these aqua tanks and how they're different from hydroponics. I've been in it, I've seen it, but
Yeah.
I do not know.
So hydroponics is just where something's basically running off of water and they have some kind of growing medium in there. And I would love to get a hydroponic system eventually, but it just hasn't happened yet. But I'm working on it. And then our aqua tank, it's a fish tank basically, and so it's a circulating aqua tank, so no water ever gets pumped in unless it's low, and so it keeps circulating. And so the fish eat the food, the poop goes and filters out, and that's what fertilizes the plants and the water, and then the nutrients comes back through the fish tank, and the fish kind of filter and clean everything.
What about the livestock? Tell me about what you have out there.
So we have some rabbits, some show rabbits, all the rabbits that we have. Kids who can't have an animal at home or they can't afford an animal, I have a lease program that they sign up for, and they're responsible for that rabbit during the whole show season, and they can take them and show them at the youth fair, the state fair, or whatever. It's just a thing because not everybody can afford that, and the feed to feed something like that, or might not have the space to care for it at home. So those rabbits, and we had some students show them at the youth fair this year. And eventually we'll do the same thing with our goats as well. We'll implement that this coming next year.
Tell me how the youth fair corresponds with some of your programs and FFA. I participated in it when I was in
Mm-hmm.
4-H growing up, but how would I get involved? What are the kids doing?
Yeah, so you could do it through school through FFA, you could do it through 4-H. And so when I talk about SAE projects, supervised agriculture experiences, that's where the youth fair comes into play, because a supervised agriculture experience, it could be showing a plant, a cow, a rabbit. It could be an internship at a job, like a job placement. It could be doing an agri-science fair project. Those are what all SAEs kind of are. And so majority of the kids do an animal, a plant, a rabbit, a flower arrangement, something like that, because there's so much you can do at the youth fair. And that is where they sell them, and that's kind of the end goal for those projects. They have to keep a record book, they have to keep the receipts, and then they sell. Not every project sells, like the rabbits and the chickens and the goats.
How do I sign up my kid for your class or your program?
You have to be enrolled in an agriculture class to be an FFA. And I hate that because there's students on campus who can't get in my class, and I know that they would love to be an FFA, or students that I have had last year that couldn't get in this year and they want to be a part of FFA, but they can't. That's the one thing that I do hate about it. But it's just the way it's set up through the Department of Education and how the different bills and things and all of that. So they have to be enrolled in an agriculture class to be an FFA.
So then the students have to apply for the Keystone class, and then it's a
Yes, the ag class.
progression.
It's a progression, yes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the leadership part of FFA in particular. Your group has officers. They do all kinds of leadership
Mm-hmm.
projects. They compete. It's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a scoop.
Yeah, so those are what we call CDEs in FFA. That's career development events. And then there's LDEs that are leadership development events. And so the leadership development events, those are the ones that are like parliamentary procedure, public speaking. Our officer team competes with the LDE. And so with our officers, I don't do like an election where students vote. I do interviews. They have to fill out an extensive, they say it's the biggest application on campus, but I require a lot because it demands a lot of time because they're gone a lot, representing our school a lot. And so I expect them to be serious about doing it. And so I have our interviews, and I normally have 3 people. I normally have someone from our school, either a teacher or an admin. I have someone from the agriculture industry on the panel, and then I normally have someone from our alumni on the panel. And they have a round of questions, they have the application. I sit in on the interviews, but I don't really put too much hearsay into what's going on. I let that panel see what the kids have to offer. And then the kids select what position they want. And then that panel kind of filters through on those questions and their speaking ability. And then they place where they believe they should be.
What are some of the big functions or conventions that you annually participate in?
We always participate in state convention, which is every summer, and I'm taking 17 to state convention this summer. 17 students that have earned their place to be there. And then middle school conference, adult conference, and chapter. We always have a state officer come and visit and talk about leadership and things like that with he or she, if it's a he or a she, that year for state office, they sit and talk with every single student in my class about leadership. They do hands-on activities with them. The students love it when the state officers come. Because most of the time I'm limited, like with space of who I can take. So I try my hardest to change it up and take new people to different conferences if I have like 1 or 2 or 3 spaces left after my officer team, or that group that needs to go, maybe like a CDE team. And so I try my best to try to expand that as much as I can. But the kids love when we have the local visits in class, because every kid gets to be a part of that.
Fantastic. So you've done this for what you said about a decade now.
Yeah, this is year 10.
Over the course of teaching, what do you feel makes a really successful ag program at a school?
You have to have student buy-in. You have to have students wanting to participate and do. And I'm very thankful because at my last school, I had a very strong program. And at this school, it's even stronger. The students have to want to be there and do it and do the contest and do the events, because I'm not going to take kids that don't want to be there. I'm not just going to take a group to a contest or a group to a leadership event just for them to get out of school and have a good day. They have to want to be there, because I've skipped out on things before because their heart wasn't there. So you have to have student buy-in, because it's a lot of extra time on myself, a lot of hours, and I don't mind doing it. I love doing it. I love my job. Like, I truly love my job. And so it's that extra time is very valuable to me, and it needs to be valuable for that student. And so you have to have student buy-in to be able to do the fairs, the contests, the leadership things, because it's a lot of extra time, and they have to show up to practice, and they have to be diligent and study and work, because I mean, there's tests at contests, there's scripts that we have to write for contests. So it's they have to want to do it. You have to have that student buy-in. You have to have good parent support, which I'm thankful that I have good parent support, and a school community that supports you as well.
So recently you have taken home all kinds of different awards, and over the years you've also been recognized for some of your incredible sacrifice that you make personally and professionally. What are some of the proudest moments that you've had teaching ag?
Teacher of the year. I was teacher of the year for my school, not last year, but the year before. So that was really big, and I wasn't expecting it because I'm an elective. Sometimes, but then again, our school values electives and those outlets for kids. So that was really big for me, and I was really proud of that. But in FFA, it has to be our national chapter that we got this past year. We came in top 10 in the nation. And so that was really big for us. And it was the biggest thing that I've ever done as an agriculture teacher. And it was our first year ever going through the national chapter process. And for us to be named a top 10 program in the nation our first year ever doing it kind of blew me away. Even when we were there at national convention about to go on stage and receive our award, I looked at the girls that were back there and I was like, I really can't believe that we're here right now doing this. So it did, like, Temple Grandin's walking beside me, who's like one of my agriculture heroes, and I'm like snapping pictures with her in the background. I'm like, I really can't believe that we're here right now doing this. And the girls were like, why, Miss Sharpless? And I was like, because like this is a big deal, and the fact that this happened our first time ever doing this, putting this effort in, and the students do put effort in on our national chapter because it's based off of our program of activity. So it's all the things that we do all year. And they're basically judging us on how we run our FFA program. So I was very proud of that. And the students were too. I think because we wouldn't have a program activity if it wasn't for my officer team saying, hey, let's do this. Let's try this. Let's try to do this community service project this year, because they're the ones who truly think of the ideas and plan them, and then I just help them implement them.
Jump into that. I want to hear about some of the community service projects that
Oh
y'all
yeah.
do.
So one of our favorite ones that we do every year is with the students that are their families are low income and need, and they might be homeless or in temporary housing. And so, and it's grown. It's crazy to think in the 5 years when we first started doing this 10 years ago, we only had to make 10. And this past year, we made 32 in 5 years. And so these are the wellness baskets that we do. And so over Christmas break, they come and they get the families can take these baskets home. But the basket is full. It's a laundry basket, and it's full of every single toiletry, housing supply, anything that they might need over the holiday break, from new toothbrushes, toothpaste, toilet paper, mouthwash, baby wipes, house cleaner, soap, anything that, because when you're trying to feed your family, those items might get left behind. So we've provided that for 5 years to the Lake Wells community, well, especially through the charter system. So in the 5 years, we've grown from making 10 baskets, and then this past year, we've made 32. So it's a big undertaking, and the kids love doing it. And they bring my classes, we do a contest, and so they bring supplies in, and like the winning class gets a donut party, and then the FFA brings in supplies, and members bring in supplies. So we enjoy doing that community service project. Our kids also they bring in candy for Hope Equine, because they do a trot or treat. And so I think the past 2 years we've been able to donate the majority of the candy for that event for Hope Equine. And so our kids love doing that and bringing in the candy. And I kind of make it a game or a race again there. And we also we raise money throughout the year. Like, we might have Kona Ice on campus, we might do a dress down day, Crocs or Stocks, and then we pick an organization to donate that money to, and the students pick, like, if they want to give it to the food bank, the care center, whatever. They pick where they want that money to go to within Lake Wells, within our community. So that's just kind of a little bit of the community service stuff that we do. We work with the Holly Brewer Adapted Rodeo. That's where students with special needs can come. And it's all over the state. And it's actually two former students of ours, parents and them, that created this rodeo for special needs students. And so they can ride horses and pop a whip, and it's just a day for those types of students who show a cow, things that they can't ever do normally at a rodeo. So, and we've always had buddies that have helped in that process. But this past year, we were able to offer a craft room and a sensory room for those students so they could come when they needed like a break and do the sensory bends, make a craft, just sit, have a snack, and relax because it can be overstimulating for them at that event. So we provided that room for that event this year. We don't run the event, we don't organize the event, but we did offer the room and the crafts at that event as something extra for the kids to be able to do.
Wow. And I see your kids on campus too, getting together and going to the local elementary schools to
Yeah.
read to the
Yeah.
students. Tell me a little bit about that.
So those are our ag literacy visits, and I've done those forever at my old school and this year at this school. And we go to as many elementary schools in the local area as that we can, and we try to always add a new elementary school each year. So we normally hit the 4 charter school elementary schools, and we try to hit. Last year we added Providence Academy, and so this year we're trying to add a new elementary school either in the Lake Wells area, and then we're trying in Frostproof. We'd like to go to Frostproof Elementary as well because we have students that come from there to our school as well. So we try to target those schools, but we go and we read a book about agriculture. We talk to them about the importance of agriculture and different things like that. And then we do a hands on activity. So sometimes we do a living necklace, like where the seed grows and they make it and decorate it. We do mini greenhouses. We've done little chia pets before that they make. So it depends on if we do a plant science book or an animal science book. Because if we do like an animal science book, the one about dairy, we make butter with them real quick. And sometimes we bring animals in to the programs and do different things like that. It just depends on the time frame and what that school has going on. And so I let the school, the principal, whoever, I let them decide what grade they want us to go and read to, and then we pick the materials that fits best for that grade level that we think, and then the students, and then again, my students that I take, they do it all. I'm kind of there to guide them, and I'll answer some questions maybe that they don't know how to answer or handle. And I do a little spiel, but really the students, they do it all. They do the activity with them, they read the book to them. And then that's another thing that I try to rotate other students out with, to have the opportunity to go and do that.
What do you have in store for the next couple of years ahead? What is your vision for this program?
In the next 5 years, I just want it to grow stronger. I would love to have a second teacher if I could, so then more kids could implement and be in ag, because I do have a waiting list. I know that's a long shot, but you never know. I would like to have my own building in my area or have a classroom down there near my area. So you never know, those types of things, just to build the program stronger and have the facilities that other ag programs have throughout the county here on our campus would be great. Like if I could, like most ag programs have like a shop and different things, and they can teach building things and different things like that, like little shop projects. So I would love to have that one day.
You've had a lot of support from the community in what you've done so far.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the community advocates that you might want to give a shout out to or say thank you?
So, Mr. and Miss Collins, they support our campus a lot, and they really have done a lot for our program as far as the fencing, the raised bed area, the greenhouse, and just making it beautiful down there and having a space that's truly ours. We work with a seed company called Glades Seed Company, and they give us all of our starter plants for our raised bed areas and our crop garden. And so they send us every vegetable and fruit that we have. Our vegetable, we haven't done fruit yet, but every vegetable that we have, it's a new variety. And so we kind of are testers for them. and we let them know like if it's growing well, if it's not growing well, like what we're using to grow. And this year they gave us a new variety of pepper, and we're the only place that's successfully grown the pepper. So they help us out a lot. And then our alumni, our Lake Wales FFA alumni, they're very supportive. They're like our booster club. They give us funding for the kids to go to national convention, those leadership conferences. They give scholarships out and different things like that. So, and then my family supports me a lot, whether it be directly my husband, my mom, dad, but they give us funding and help us out also. And so there's a lot. The community truly helps us out a lot, whether it be funding, plants, anything, donation items. So I'm very thankful for the community that we do have, because they do support us out. They do support us a lot.
They can see how you're impacting so many of our kids and creating leaders. So it is well worth time, effort, money, because
Hmm.
you do a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
What are some of your biggest challenges that you've encountered in this last bit as a teacher?
Students have definitely changed over the past 10 years, and then the COVID and coming back from that, and you're you're still seeing signs of that in the classroom. My classroom's very loud. We move a lot, we do a lot, and so having to stay on those students, and making sure that I'm giving them the best support and the best options to do things through. I would say that's the most difficult, because students have changed a lot and they're very capable of doing many things at a time. And so just monitoring and making sure, because when we're outside, that's very independent on them because they're running it all. So I have to be able to trust those students to make sure that they're doing the right thing. And so I guess that would be my biggest challenge, because we don't go outside every day. So sometimes, two or three get the privilege, and I rotate it through classes. They get to go out and care for the animals one on one. So I have to make sure that those students are capable of doing that and that they're going to do what needs to be done. It's just, yeah, making sure that everything's running properly and smoothly and everyone's safe.
What's been your teaching philosophy and guiding light?
I want to bring real life and real world and hands on to every student that walks into my class. And you can ask any of my FFA members that have ever done a contest for me. And it's simply, you give me your best, you've tried your hardest, you've learned something new, and you've had fun along the way. And that's all I can ask of the students, because not every student, there's tons of students that want to be in ag in middle school, but their schedules don't work out. And so other students that maybe ag was fourth or fifth get in ag class. And my biggest thing that I love to see is that they tell me at the beginning, I hate this class, I'm not going to take this class again. And then they're sitting in my class in seventh grade, and I'm like, well, I thought you said you didn't like this class. You didn't want to be in this class. How are you in this class again? They're like, oh, no, I love this class now. So that's like a big thing for me, because there's students I think I'll never see sitting in a chair in my classroom again, and it's number one on their list. So that's a big goal for me. I want every kid to love something about my class, about agriculture, to learn something, because it is so important to teach the youth about agriculture and where your food comes from, and especially sustainable agriculture with a growing population like we have, and especially in Florida with people moving here every day, and our land to produce that food on is growing smaller and smaller. So it is important to that they know that awareness, and they know why eggs are really expensive right now is because there's a avian flu going on that's killing the majority of the birds. And so making sure they have awareness of the agriculture world, because it is important.
So the education and the exposure to how it applies to real life is crucial. And this is something you do on top of all the other things you do. You take on the Great American Teach-In. Amazing. Tell me about that vision, what you do, how it helps the students.
Kind of did it at my old school, but I wasn't in charge of it. Another teacher was in charge of it, but I helped her. And when we got here, they didn't really have anyone in place to do it. And so I told Dr. Moses, I said, I'll do it. I can do that. And so I take care of lining up all the guest speakers. The majority of them are agriculture based, but I do try to have someone from finance, something in science related. The librarian comes for reading. I try to have other things as well besides the agriculture based participants. And so I line those all up. I ask what teachers want to have a guest speaker. I assign them a guest speaker. I get funding for a breakfast, to donations for a breakfast to be had for them. Just maybe it's normally fruit and yogurt and donuts and coffee and juice, like a light breakfast. But I always have somebody in the community sponsor that for me, because it's a nice thing. And then we just run it. My officer team and my FFA members, because it takes more than just my officer team. They welcome them on campus, they bring them to my room, they help them go to the classrooms, they're with them the whole day, or while the whole morning, or the period while they're with the speakers. We present them with a certificate and we give them a thank you gift. And so I guess I just told Moses I'd do it, and I'm doing it now for this 5th year of me doing it. And that's actually, the Great American Teach-In is actually what was top 10 in the nation. That event for our chapter is what, yeah. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and the students help a lot with it. Students tell me suggestions of who they want to come in. And so I try to get those people to come in through the community. And so, yeah, that's how we run the Great American Teach-In.
It's so great. And if there's somebody watching this that wants to participate, they just need to get a hold of you or the school, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and they'll put you through to me. Yeah.
Okay. What are some of your favorite resources for staying relevant in this field?
So I like a lot of podcasts. There's an ag teacher one that I listen to religiously. And if you could talk to your ag teacher, because the FFA advisor, we're the owl. That's what they call us, owls, because we're the wise owls. Here by the Owl is what I listen to. And then there's another one that's put on by 2 famous livestock judges. One of them is Ryan or Ash, who I absolutely love. And it's called Beyond the Ring. And I listen to that every week. My husband does too. So, and they talk about, and Beyond the Ring, they talk about agriculture, like what's going on politically with agriculture, laws, crazy stuff that happens at shows.
Do you have any advice? Say you've got a student watching this who's thinking about getting involved in ag, or a parent who's like, I don't know what my kid needs to do for Keystone. What advice do you have to jump into this world? Because it's incredible, but
Yeah.
not everyone might know that.
Yeah. So just have them try it out, because there's parents now that have 8th graders that they never thought they would be in the world of FFA and agriculture. And their student is at shows every weekend, and they're buying their first cow. And they're like, I can't believe when my daughter signed up for this and she wanted this class, this is where we would be. And I was like, well, you're in it now. So just try it, because you never know, and it might not be the fit for you, and that's fine. But hopefully you learn something new. So just try it. And you don't have to do, I tell the kids, I was like, come to the meetings. If you want to enjoy, come try it out. I said, you don't have to do a big project. You don't have to do a judging team. You could do a plant. You could take a photo and submit it at the youth fair. Just try it out, see if you like it, because you're not going to know if you like it if you don't try it. So that's the only way I could truly tell parents and students, just see if you like it.
Do you think I should include anything about, because Justin's career goes hand in hand with ag? Do you
Mm-hmm.
want to talk a little bit about that? Or
Sure, yeah. So My husband is very involved with the FFA world and agriculture as well. He is the department chair for the agriculture studies program at Warner University, so on the education side. He is the chair of that department. And so he also did it's called WUSOP. It's Warner State Officer Preparation Academy School. And so it's a weekend leadership training type thing, really, for students that want to take FFA to the next step when they are a senior and run for state office. And so he started that at Warner. I think he's been doing it for 6 or 7 years now. And there's tons of kids that come across the state from the state in 11th and 12th grade that plan on running for state office. And he has former state officers there, different people within the agriculture industry, and they go through a mock screening and they give them tips and hints and advice on how to hone their whole package to run for state office, to go through that screening process.
So if someone was interested in that, they could contact Warner University.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. Do you have any last closing thoughts, suggestions, information you want to share?
If you want to be an agriculture teacher and an FFA advisor, and I learned this the hard way, you can't do it all. The first 3 years that you're an agriculture teacher, you're drowning. It's like you're swimming, but you're drowning at the same time, because there is your everyday class, your land lab, that's every day, but then you have this whole other world on top of you with FFA, with contests and applications and different things like that. Like, I've wanted to do the national chapter app since my first year teaching, and I did it year 9. And if you're good at a LDE or a CDE, focus on those. You're not going to go out and win every state contest the first year, the first 3 years. It's a lot for you to do. So take your time, practice on those things that you know that you're good at and you're strong at. And if you're not and your kids want to do it, get help. It took me a long time to figure out that I could ask a coach or someone that I know in the industry to come in and help teach these kids. And I do that now because I don't know anything about forestry, but we had top 10 forestry team in the state for 2 years. I had a coach. I can't tell you anything about that contest, but I had a coach come in and help them because I had kids that wanted to do it. Parliamentary procedure, not my thing. I can teach the basics in class. I have a coach this year. We're going to the state contest. So it took me a long time, and it is overwhelming, and it takes a special person to be an ag teacher, and I feel weird saying that, but it takes a lot. And so, it's not something that you're just like, oh, I'm going to be an ag teacher one day. You really have to have the heart and the passion to do it, because you want your program and your FFA program and your school program and your chapter, and you want it to be successful. And it takes time, and just ask for help. And it's not all going to happen those first 3 years, but eventually it will.
Are there any areas right now that you're looking to get some experts in to help coach or teach?
I've had kids interested in aquaculture. So if anybody wants to come in and coach the aquaculture team, I know a little bit about it, but it's not something I know well about. So that would be great.
Anything else?
I mean, I'm always open for any help. Like, if there's so many contests, vegetable, tool ID, horse judging. If I have kids that are interested and I don't know it, I definitely will look for help with that. So if anybody has any specialty in CDEs, just reach out to me. We can put a team together.
Yes. I think that there will be some people that pop out unexpectedly after hearing more about it.
This is truly where I've always wanted to be and teach and have an FFA program back in my home community. And I enjoy it a lot, and I love being here. and I love my kids. But that's the best thing to me about my whole job, is that the relationships that I build with the students. I try to ask every single one of them a question about them at least once or twice a week. If it's, what did you do on the weekend? What are you planning to do on the weekend? I try to make each student in my class feel like I know something about them, because I want to know something about them. And building those relationships is important.
Emilyn, I loved speaking with you. You do an amazing job. It's evident that your heart is completely in it, and it's a joy to walk into your classroom and see the kids learning and being excited. So, thank you for spending time today with us.
Thank you.
So, whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just EduCurious, join the community as we explore various educational topics and learn from each other. We will see you next time.